I'm going to define a subject and then also a verb. Okay. So a subject is who or what is experiencing the state of being or doing the action, okay? And a verb is the state of being or what is being done by the subject. The state of being, experienced by the subject or what is being done by the subject. It is the subject does not equal the topic. So if you look at a sentence and you're just like looking for nouns and it seems like the coffee is the most important part of the sentence, it's not necessarily your subject. Remember, the grammatical subject of the sentence is going to be whoever or whatever is doing the action or experiencing the state of being. Okay, so just for subject-verb identification review, I have some sentences here and I want to go over how to identify the subject and the verb. So the first one, in the morning, the CCP janitors eat donuts. Yum. I love donuts. I especially like strawberry frosted donuts. I hope that you all enjoy donuts as well. Okay, so in the morning, that's a prepositional phrase. It's just a phrase that's telling you when something is happening. Remember that I let you guys know that in is never a verb. And in the morning is a phrase. It's not going to have your subject. It's not going to have your verb in it. And you can just sort of memorize that when you have in that begins like a phrase, it's not going to relate to your verb. Same with above, on top of, words like that are called prepositions. Okay, so we know it's not that. The CCP janitors eat donuts. We're going to look for what seems like an action or a state of being. To me, eat, right, active. That seems like an action. So we're going to say eat is the verb. Okay, so we're testing it out and we're going to highlight it. We're testing it out. Okay, and we're going to highlight the verbs in yellow. And then who's doing the eating? Are the donuts eating anything? No. The donuts are not eating anything. They're being eaten, the poor donuts. So the janitors are doing the eating. So the janitors are going to be the subject. So the janitors is the subject, eat is the verb. Okay, we have another prepositional phrase here. In my opinion, Beyonce writes many deep songs. All right, let's look at this sentence. Let's see what we think is the action. Okay, deep. Could that be an action? Well, we go deep into the ocean sometimes. We swim deeply into the ocean. But no, the action is not deeping, right? No, okay. What is it that seems most active here? Oh, writes. Okay, writes. Writes as the verb. Let's try that out. Okay, do we have someone who's doing that? Yes, Beyonce. Good. So Beyonce, missing its accent there, but Beyonce is going to be our subject and Beyonce writes. She writes. Okay, so let's say we thought that maybe it was the songs that were the subject of the sentence because in fact we do care about maybe Beyonce's songs more than Beyonce. I don't know. So songs, we could say, okay, we think songs is the subject. Is songs doing anything? Nope. It's not deeping. It's not many. It's not opinioning. Song's not doing anything there. So we know that the songs can't be the subject. All right, a few more. I eat a lot of Doritos. This is a true statement from my life. I really enjoy Doritos. I eat a lot of Doritos. So the verb here is going to be eat. Okay. Now, is the subject Doritos or I? Question everyone wants to know. So are the Doritos eating me or eating anything? No. Who's doing the eating? I'm doing the eating, so I is going to be the subject. Okay, the bird flew past my window. Here we can envision the flying, right? And so that's going to be the verb, and the subject is going to be the bird. And how do we know that it's not window as a subject? Well, the window's not doing anything. The window didn't fly past the bird. The bird flew past the window. Okay, and finally, I like pasta. Like is the verb here. It's the act of liking. Like is a harder one. When you have words like have or like, You have to think about it a little bit more because you can't envision someone like doing like a like dance or something. But like is a verb; it's always a verb. And as you get more practice, you'll see what these verbs are. And then the subject, is the subject going to be pasta or I? Well, does the pasta like me? Nope, it doesn't. I like the pasta. So the I is going to be the subject. Okay. And then Jill walks to the store every Saturday. Walks is the verb. And who's doing the walking? That would be Jill. So that is the subject. Oops. And let's make her whole name into the subject. Okay, so you can see, how each of these goes. And some tips: avoid prepositional phrases as the subject or the verb. When you see it, you can cross it out in your sentence if that's helpful to you, and then look for the action or the state of being and who or what is doing that or experiencing it. Okay, don't just guess random words. Really have a process for it. Process of first look for the verb, look for an action word or a state of being, and test it. Does it have a subject attached to it? Is someone doing it or experiencing it? If they're not, you have not found the right thing. Okay, a little bit about subject-verb agreement. So you want your subjects and verbs to agree in number, and that just means if you have a singular subject, you want to have a singular verb. So what does that mean? Well, the singular subjects are when there's just one of them. So there's just one Elizabeth or Professor Cadenice, right? So when I'm talking about Professor Cadenice, I'm going to have a verb form that's singular. Okay, and the way to tell if a verb form is singular is sometimes just to look up the verb. Okay, if you're not sure, you can look it up. And the way that you look up a verb is you can say this. You type into Google, conjugation of the verb, and then whatever it is, like to walk in English. Okay, and then you can get the breakdown of the word parts. Sometimes you can get it. A lot of times you can get it on your own. Let's look at some of these examples. COVID-19 be really annoying. So this is not standard English. Okay, maybe it's something that you would say to friends, and that's totally fine. How you speak is totally up to you and your communities and all of those things. Totally fine. But in standard written English, this is an infinitive form. Like this is the verb to be. So it's not agreeing with COVID-19. So you'd want to break it down to COVID-19 is really annoying. And then you have COVID-19, which is singular. The word is singular, and it's got the verb is next to it because is the singular verb that goes with it. Okay, here we have she walked to the store all the time. Okay, she is singular because there's only one of her. But the verb walk is plural. So you would say she walks to the store all the time. So third person singular verbs have an S next to them. In the video that you watched before, you saw that that's a little bit confusing. When we want to make a word plural, like dogs, we put an S at the end of it. But the third person singular form of the verb has an S attached to it. If that's confusing, which it very well might be, send me an email and I'll try to explain it in like a different way too. It's just hard, and sometimes it just takes like a bunch of time to really integrate that if that's something that you get wrong. Now, for a lot of you, there may be one or two verbs that you get wrong in terms of subject-verb agreement, and for others of you, there may be like 5 or 6. And it's going to be individual, and it's really, the goal of this is to make sure you avoid subject-verb agreement errors. There's no other goal, beyond that. Okay, so I sees you. I and sees do not agree in number. So I see you. Okay. And again, if you didn't know how see breaks down, right, you could look up the conjugation of to see, and it's going to be I see, you see, he, she, it sees, we see, oops, and then they see. Okay. So you see we've mixed up the forms here. So I sees doesn't go. So I see is the way to do it. And if you're not sure, you can look up how the verbs break down basically. Okay, Rakim go to CCP. This should be Rakim goes to CCP. So the third person singular the singular subject, Rakim, needs to have a singular verb, which in this case is goes. So it would be, if you wanted it to be go, it would be they go to CCP. And this is in fact what we have in our last example here. They goes to CCP. They go to CCP because they is plural, and then the verb form go is plural. So you can, again, look these up if you have any confusion about how to break down the verb. And the main goal here is, again, for your subjects and your verbs to agree in your sentences. Okay, keep up the good work.